travelers, welcome back to CarryonPilkington, the show where I talk about travel and stuff. Because, why not? Today we're going to be talking about my favorite city in the world. So when you think about your favorite city in the world, you got to consider the best time you've ever had, the best food you've ever had, the people you've met, and a lot of the things that came up into my mind when I thought about this was London, of course, because I lived there. So you'd think automatically, my favorite city is obviously London. You're wrong. And I could say the place that I live, which I'm not going to really disclose, but I don't really like it here. That's why I like traveling so much. So London actually gets put a little bit lower than this place for experience, and my hometown is like, bloop. Sorry. My favorite city in the world is, drumroll please, Berlin, Germany. Something you may not expect, but I do talk a lot about my Germany trip because me and my sister had probably the best time of my life. I discovered a lot about who I was, got to try new things that I never understood. It was the first time I'd ever really been immersed in a language where I had no idea what they were talking about, because before I'd been to places like France and Italy and like even Mexico, where I have a basic understanding of like Italian, French, and like Spanish. So, like, for me, those were things where I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I know how to say, like, where's the bathroom, but Germany, I had no idea, and even the signs are really hard to interpret because there are certain characters that aren't necessarily in the, like, English lexicon. The nice thing about Germany, which is why it's one of my favorite places to visit, is that also, most people there are very nice and considerate, and most of them speak English, so if you go up to them and you go, like, you're like, oh, like, danke, they're like, you are English, and they'll be like, oh, what do you need? And they're very patient with you, they're very kind, and it just made my experience there so much better. But the reason Berlin is my favorite city, I break down into 4 points: food, people, history, and experience. So the food is just like the best. It's kind of like not as good as the countryside, it's not as authentic, but it was nice to have variety, so we had like German traditional food, but then you weren't only stuck to having like potatoes and pork every night. Like me and my sister went to McDonald's, which I know is potatoes and pork, but it's made differently. It's not boiled pork. And that's also the first place I tried schnitzel. And the first place that I tried, what was it? It's like boiled ham, where they literally brought me a piece of boiled ham like this big. I was like, what is this? My friend was like, you should just get it. And I was like, all right. And then it came out and I was like, oh, mistakes. And then all the waitresses and everything were laughing at me because they were like, ho, 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 like, you're not going to finish this. I did finish quite a bit of it, though. I was determined. The second is, I can't even remember now. I think the second was the people and the touristy, the things to do. I had a friend that lived there, so she took me to see the non-touristy things, but then we also took a full day tour that literally took us 6 hours, and they took us all around Germany, all around Berlin, and me and my sister had made a list, like a long list of all the things we wanted to do. After this tour, we looked at our list, and we're like, there's only one thing we didn't do, and that was Museum Island, because we had been to New Zealand Island on this tour. It's not like they skipped it. We just hadn't been in any of the museums. So my friend took us to do non-touristy things, like she took us to this cool dance club that was outside. You bought beer at this bar, and it was in this little, like, I don't know, it was like an indent in the earth, and then they had a dance floor set up, and every night the dancing was different, and when we went there it was swing, and then you could like overlook Museum Island, and it was just like a beautiful, fun experience. We got to meet some of the locals, we got to go to local pubs, stuff like that, and I've never felt so like I could live somewhere. Like, I didn't just go to the place where you take a picture with a painting. I went into the culture, which is why I think German culture is one of my favorites. And number four is that I love the experience. The experience in general of like people and things to do, and the hotel we had was also really nice. Like, it was one of those days where there were no hostels, where like, I guess we're staying in a hotel, and it was a really nice place to let us check in right away. So the experience probably influences it as well. Like, I feel like if I'd had a bad experience with the hotel, like, it might not have been as good of a trip. But again, all the people we met, everything that came with it, we had like a lot of nice nights that we just would be casual and drink and have food, and it was the end of our trip, so usually at that point you'd be like, oh, I'm ready to go home, but then I was like, I don't want to go, I want to stay here. I want to learn the language and live with the locals and hide in and they won't see me, right? Right, so those are the 4 reasons why Berlin is my favorite place in the world, and I would go back there in a second. Also, 4.5 Berliner Luft. If you've never tried Berliner Luft, it's the most delicious alcohol in the world. It's peppermint vodka that tastes so much like peppermint that we would drink it from the bottle. And I brought little ones home, and when I brought them to a party, I was like, oh, try this. And people take a sip, and in like 2 minutes it was gone because people were like, oh my god, this is so good. So if anyone ever wants to send me Berliner Luft, like, I could probably exchange it for some, like, maple syrup? Hit me up. So I hope you enjoyed your stay, and leave a comment below with your favorite city and let me know. And I will see you later. Bye!
While it is true that nighttime devours the day, it is doubly true that every morning the sun returns to frighten away the cowardly dark.